PBN Pinellas Park, WTWD Plant City, WLCC Brandon.
Faith Talk Tampa. Download the Faith Talk Tampa app or listen on TuneIn and Odyssey.
More and more Americans are growing tired of woke capitalism. Michael Harrington has a report.
A new poll from the Trafalgar Group finds nearly 90% of respondents would like major corporations to quit pushing politics and social movements and just stick to selling their products. The vast majority of people say they are likely to, quote, stop using the product or service of a company that openly advocates for a political agenda. A growing number of big firms are getting on the LGBT bandwagon and publicly promoting various progressive political issues. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
Starbucks is the latest major corporation vowing to pay travel expenses for U.S. employees to access abortion or sex change operations if those services are not available within 100 miles of the worker's home. The Seattle coffee chain says the benefit will also be available to dependents of employees enrolled in its healthcare coverage. Starbucks is among the most high-profile companies that have adopted a travel benefit of that kind. This is SRN News. California State Controller candidate Lan He-Chen says corruption in his state led to between $20 and $30 billion in the fraudulent use of COVID-19 dollars.
We had an unemployment insurance fraud that happened because the state was literally sending unemployment insurance checks to people in prison, people on death row.
John says California residents needed the money most, often didn't get it. A ransomware gang that infiltrated some Costa Rican government computer systems has upped its threat. We get more on that from correspondent Jeremy House.
It now says its goal is to overthrow the government. The Russian-speaking Conti gang attacked Costa Rica in April, accessing multiple critical systems in the finance ministry, including customs and tax collection. Other government systems were also affected, and a month later, not all are fully functioning.
That is correspondent Jeremy House reporting. You'll find more of these stories at srnnews.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Oh, hi there, and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and yes, the law office is open, and we are here to help any way that we can for the next hour. 877-943-9673. That's your live and open studio line. Give us a call now. We are happy to be of assistance any way that we can this morning, answering your legal questions. 877-943-9673. Action-packed show lined up for you guys today, but we always make time for your calls because we are here to help any way that we can with your legal questions, so you can always call, and we prefer to talk to you live on the air. 877-943-9673, or give us an email as well, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. And we've come off really 3 weeks of constitutional law discussion when we consider the fact that 3 weeks ago we discussed the recent Supreme Court ruling on emotional distress damages, and then the following 2 weeks discussing the leaked opinion purportedly overturning Roe versus Wade. Today we are switching gears a little bit, and we are going to be discussing the world of criminal defense. And to lead us into that often murky, dangerous world of criminal defense, my buddy from high school, attorney Matthew Kendall. Matthew, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Patrick. Good morning, listeners. I'm here to help answer any questions I can for the listeners that might have it, and for you, Patrick. I'm also a fan of your show, so I've heard the good discussions you've had about the right to privacy, and I know you had a caller a couple weeks ago about, I believe it was whether the officers can search a car based upon odor of marijuana, now that there is a version or medical marijuana or hemp that's been legalized in Florida. And I believe you were able to read some of the opinions I provided you on those. So I'm here to help the best I can, answer any questions I can. Obviously, I don't want to get into any specific facts of anyone's cases that they call.
Well, we are here to help. And Attorney Matthew Kendall, call in now. That's your all-call opportunity to call in with your criminal defense questions. And of course, you can call in for yourself, or as we suspect, you'll be calling in for a friend or a cousin, someone else who has a criminal defense question, of course. You're welcome to call in and remain anonymous if that makes you feel more comfortable. But again, Attorney Matthew Kendall alongside Attorney Patrick Smith this morning, here to answer your criminal defense questions. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local open studio line. Give us a call now or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to our first caller of the day. Let's go to Steve in Sarasota. Steve, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure, Steve. How can we help?
Patrick, yeah. I had somebody from a deal on the radio was going to come to my house and clean my air conditioning ducts for $49. They took the air handler back. They showed me how dirty it was, and they started on me, and they ended up having me sign they wanted me to sign this thing for $3163.90. And I told them I didn't have the money, so they got me approved through this internet banking company. I had a 3-day right to cancel if I wanted to. So the next day I called up, and there were 3 ways I could do it: by telegram, by letter, and by person. So I tried to go to the place in Sarasota, which was located, which is what the invoice was on, and that was closed. So I called them and told them I wanted to cancel it. They sent me an email saying that they understood I wanted to cancel. I sent them a letter within the 3-day period, and then they wanted to charge me this big restocking fee. And there is nothing in the contract about a restocking fee. And then, of course, I had to have it financed through this internet banking company, and I'm jammed up, and I don't know what to do.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's an unfortunate situation anytime you have a service company sort of make you feel like it was a bait and switch operation. And that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. You said they were offering $49 and it came out and they found that the situation was worse than they anticipated. And what was the grand total? Was it, you say, over $3,000?
$3163.90. And the air conditioner was working fine. Now, she said it was overheated. She said it was working too high, but it was working okay. I offered to pay them for the air handler that they cleaned, and I have since had they charged me $1,360 for 2 UV lights and $1,274 for this oxidation system, which I've had removed, and I'm going to have them pick it up. But I'm still on the hook from this internet banking company. I disputed it, and they denied it.
Steve, do you have all this paperwork that you're referencing?
I do.
I'll give out the office number here later in the show, and give me a call. I'll meet with you there in my Sun City Center office, which is nearest to Sarasota, and I'll be happy to look at the paperwork and see what, if anything, we can do as far as getting resolution for you. It's they always mention that there's a right to cancellation in these contracts, but they do sort of make it sometimes Herculean, sometimes it's not. And in this particular case, you said that one of the methodologies was a telegram?
A telegram.
Was courier pigeon on the list as well? I'm just curious. I don't even know where to go to send a telegram now. Where do you go to do that?
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah, so I have all the certifications I sent and all that other stuff. So I'd be happy to do that. So when you give your number out, then I will call you and set up an appointment at Sun City, because this is really driving me nuts.
Well, Steve, we'll get you some peace of mind for sure, okay? And I'm sorry that happened to you. Have your pencil and paper ready, and we'll give out that number here in a bit, okay?
I will. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in, Steve.
Bye-bye.
All right, you're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, local Central Florida attorney, and with me today in studio, special guest, Attorney Matthew Kendall, criminal defense attorney. So call in with all your criminal defense questions. Like Matt said, a few weeks ago, we did have a open air sniff question regarding leading to a search of a vehicle and whether or not that was sufficient probable cause to justify that search. So maybe you have a similar question, but any sort of criminal defense question or any legal question at all, really, we're here to help any way that we can. 877-943-9673. Again, your studio line live and open. 877-943-9673, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, now let's go to Punta Gorda and let's talk to Rick. Rick, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
I'm great, Rick. How can we help?
Again, I spoke to you briefly. My elder sister, who's in her 70s, had a fall, ended up in a memory rehab place, and she was out of it for a couple of months. Her son, in the meantime, had sold her residence, and he had power of attorney, although she didn't realize that was the case. Sold her residence, cleaned out her brokerage account, and now she's mentally back on the planet and asking where her stuff is and why he had sold her home. And so he's, of course, not answering those questions. Basically made off with the dough. So what is the best way to go about trying to get that problem?
It's probably a situation where they would need to hire counsel and bring an action for what we call civil theft. Basically, where someone exploited the powers that they were given under this fiduciary relationship to basically abscond with the person's assets. And I've seen this case before, and the appropriate remedy is civil theft. And there's civil litigation counsel that we work with. We'd be happy to put you in touch with them, Rick, and get them the necessary legal counsel to prepare and bring that action for civil theft.
And what does that run? Since I'll have to be forking that money out.
That's a fantastic fantastic question. It's easy for me to answer because I don't know. The attorneys will give you a quote, and they will use a written fee agreement so that you know exactly how they're being paid and what you're being charged and whether it's a flat fee or hourly fee. But they will give you that after the consultation, and I'll be happy to give out the office number if you want to give us a call during the week, and we'll put you in touch. Okay.
So that's calling this number, or is there a different number?
No, it'll be the office line, and I'll give it out. You can always call this number, though, and someone here at the studio will give you my office line, but I will give out the office line here shortly, okay?
Okay.
And actually, hang on a second, Rick. Matt has something he wants to add, so go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, has anyone reported it to law enforcement or to the state attorney's office economic crimes division?
Okay, well, that's sort of a follow-up question. Some elder abuse character, I'll call him, from the state, did interview the son, and he had a personal services agreement, which he had created and signed on behalf of my sister without her knowledge. It said she's going to give him all her money, not only money that exists today, but money that could be come in the future up to some ridiculous amount.
Okay.
So I think that sent the state investigator on his merry way, apparently. But it's a totally bogus agreement. She didn't know anything about it, never signed it, et cetera, et cetera.
Do you know if there are any doctor's reports or any mental evaluations that were done that talk about her capacity to make gifts or sign documents?
At that point in time, she was definitely incapacitated. At this point in time, she's deemed to be with it, if you will.
I think you're going to. Well, I think you're going to want to try to maybe see if you can, find any medical records or have your. You said
I have all that from
the
facility she's been in.
Okay, well, you may want to try to circle back with them and see, because a lot of times if you don't press it and it's a difficult case for them, they may just trying to wait for, maybe they're just waiting for some more information. So I'd try to circle back with them and see and maybe push it a little bit.
Now is that not only a civil issue but also potentially a criminal issue?
Yes, there is a crime under Florida statute for exploitation of an elderly person or somebody who who is mentally unable to sign and make those type of gifts or transfers. And I've gone to trial on those before, and they're actually they're treated more harshly than a simple grand theft case under the criminal punishment code.
Yeah, it's 200K involved, so it's not chump change.
Yeah, and it's sometimes if the money's still out there, it's a good way to get restitution. And it's restitution in a criminal case cannot be bankrupt.
That's my question. That's the question. Should I go that route first or try the civil route first?
I think you should do both.
Yeah, there's nothing saying you can't pursue both paths to success and get justice one way or both. And you hit the nail on the head when you said if the money's still out there. That's the issue. If the money's gone, you can't get blood from a turnip. And that's unfortunately how too many of these cases end. You win the case, but then you're unable to collect on the judgment.
Well, he coincidentally had bought a home right after this was done. So I suspect that might be where the bulk of it went. So.
Well, I'll give out the office number as soon as you hang up, Rick, so that you can write it down and give us a call next week, okay?
All right, sounds good. And you're in, where's your location? This happened in Manatee. Manatee County would be the...
So the nearest location to you there would probably be the Sun City Center office.
Sun City? What county is that?
That's southern Hillsborough, right on the southern edge of Hillsborough County.
Oh, okay. So it's more like Tampa.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, very good. I'll listen to that number.
All righty. Thanks for calling. Hey, Rick, by the way, which station are you listening on?
I don't know. I hit 102.5 apparently.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We appreciate you, Rick.
Okay, thanks.
All right. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Joining me in studio, Attorney Matthew Kendall. We're fielding all your legal questions, but especially your criminal defense questions, as that is Matt's primary practice area. So feel free to give us a call now. Open studio lines, 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. And before we go to Helen, I'm going to give out that office number as promised. So to reach us during the week at the office, 877-754-6764. Again, that office number to schedule any of your complimentary consultations at Sun City Center, Clearwater, or our Lake County offices, 877-754-6764. And again, to talk to us here in the studio, 877-943-9673. Again, that open studio line, 877-943-9673, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Indian Rocks Beach and let's talk to Helen. Helen, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I wonder if you could expound a little bit on what you know about these crooks that are stealing people's property. You see all these ads on TV for home title. And I wonder how widespread it is. And also, my property, I did a trust, and I wonder, is my property more protected because it is in a trust or not?
So I'll let Matt follow up on this if he has any thoughts. But I think that from a trust standpoint, when you read 689-073, the statute on conveyances for real property to the trust, the statute's pretty clear that the deed to be effective must be signed, sealed, and delivered. Now, typically, it doesn't have to be recorded until you've passed, because that's when the property is actually being conveyed out of the trust. So while it needs to be recorded eventually, it doesn't necessarily need to be recorded right now. And that's a great way to keep your trust private longer by leaving the quit claim to the trust unrecorded until you've passed and instructing your successor trustee to record it upon your passing. I think that's a great way to save yourself from being targeted by these scams, because when these predators go out looking for a mark, one of the things they do is sort of look for some oddity, and they don't look for just a property in someone's name. If they see it in someone's name of their trust, then they sort of peg them for a particular mark, thinking they're ultra wealthy and thinking that maybe they can get some quick cash grab out of it. And I think that having your home privately conveyed to your trust is a great way to protect it. As far as how prevalent it is, I get calls at the office about this probably every week. I don't think I get them every day, and I don't see it happening very often. I do see lots of ads about ways to protect yourself from it. And there are methods, if it does happen to you, to have fraudulent conveyances of real property set aside. We've had cases like that in the past where the judge will go in and basically set aside any sales that are based on fraudulent activity. So there are remedies. And as far as how prevalent it is, in my experience, not terribly prevalent, but it is a threat. And I'll let Matt give his thoughts on what he thinks about this deed scam.
Yeah, in my practice, we haven't seen too much of the deed scam come in. I have a pretty good relationship with the Sixth Circuit Pinellas and Pasco prosecutor's office, and we're regularly talking about things that are regularly coming up, and that's just not something that we have seen a lot. We see a lot of contract mail license scams, other types of internet stings. I know this is a family show, so I won't get into too much detail about those. But this issue has not come up in the conversations. But you guys have a great state attorney in Bruce Bartlett for the Sixth Circuit in Pinellas County. And if there's something that is out there, I'm sure their office is looking at it.
Well, let me ask you a question. If these people these scam artists do get away with it, what can the homeowner do? When they're told they're evicted. I mean, what can they do legally? I mean, what about the notary who notarized the papers that were taken to the county?
I think it's not just the notary. I think you go after pretty much everyone involved in that case, the title company, the underwriter, the title insurance, and you basically say, how did you issue good title on a property without verifying this? And eventually, the wrongdoer will be identified, and then you can target them accordingly. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of petitioning to get relief from this wrong that was done and having the fraudulent sales set aside. And I think that, and I've seen this up close. We actually had a situation where a neighbor of ours had someone show up on their doorstep, said, I'm here about the Airbnb. I just wanted to see the property before I rent it. And the neighbor said, we never put our house on Airbnb, but someone had listed their home on Airbnb and they had gotten notice about it because the person showed up at their front doorstep to rent it. So it is a situation where the wrongdoer can usually be identified just because of the paper trail associated with these things. And if a notary is notarizing fraudulent documents, that is a crime, and that is able to be prosecuted.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
All righty. Thank you, Helen. All righty. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of our program today. You can email questions, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. And we've sort of had a little bit of a scams tilt to the show so far today. So following up on our show we did dedicated to scams, walking you through a variety of scams and what they look like and how to avoid them and what the typical consequences are. I actually had a client this past week bring in a scam letter that they received. And it's basically the scam of, you have come into money, but you must first pay money to get this money scam. And it appears completely legitimate. It's actually saying it's from supposedly a law firm. And then it goes on to talk about the amount of money that was left and say, all you have to do is basically call this number and provide your bank account information, and then they will take care of the rest. Now, the rest there probably means them taking your money and not so much you getting any. But again, that's the pay money to get money scam. And it's very prominent out there. But like Jimmy Petronis, our CFO's website tells you, you don't pay money to win a prize. If you've won the prize, you don't have to pay for that typically. And if it sounds like a scam, it usually is in that situation. So a special thank you to the client for bringing that in so we could raise awareness to it. So if you get a letter like that in the mail, be aware of it and make sure to check with your attorney about the validity of that letter. So 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. You can call in now. Open phone lines. We'll get you and your question right on the air for attorney Matt Kendall, who's joining us today to answer your criminal defense questions. Maybe you have a question about DUI, maybe it's about a traffic stop, an arrest, or any other criminal defense type question or any legal question at all. We're here to help. 877-943-9673. 9673. And you can email me, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. So, Matt, a lot of people out there probably are thinking, well, I do want to talk to Matt. I just don't want to talk to him live over the air. So why don't you give out your contact information if people want to reach out to you during the week?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys can call the office. The firm is Bauer, Kreider, Kinney, and Perry. We're located in Clearwater and Port Richey. The office number, even after hours, is 727-446-4800. That's 727-446-4800. And you can find it. You can contact us through email on the website as well. That's pretty easy. It's floridadefense.com with Florida spelled out.
All righty. So if you want to reach out to Matt during the week, now you know how to do so. And you can also call him right now, 877-943-9673. That's your live studio line, 877-943-9673. We also have another special guest with us in the studio today. And this is also leading up to another special announcement. We are currently in the process of hiring summer interns. So if you are out there and you are between the ages of 18 and 35, I'm just making up the ages, it doesn't matter. If you're in law school at some point, or if you are on your way to law school or have just graduated from law school, we would like to encourage you to reach out to us at the office by emailing Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com if you would like to apply to be one of our summer interns. So speaking of that, we have one such applicant with us today. Joining us in studio, it's Clayman Kidd, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So this is Clayman Kidd. And Clayman, you are a graduate of which law school?
The University of Arkansas School of Law.
All right. So what took you to the University of Arkansas?
I went there for undergrad after going to high school in Texas, and that was a popular choice for college at the high school that I was graduating from.
All right. Did you meet Bill Clinton?
I did not, but I did see his office.
Okay. Yeah, everyone from Arkansas, they always get that question, do you know Bill? And it seems to be a small world out there. So a lot of people actually do know former President Clinton. So, but we appreciate Clayman Kidd being here today. Clayman actually reached out to me yesterday and said, hey, I want to interview for the summer internship. And when he mentioned that he wants to go into criminal defense, I said, well, you just have to come in the show. We'll do your interview there. Because my buddy Matt Kendall, who's a criminal defense attorney, is going to be in studio. So you guys actually got to chat before the show. And did you have any questions you wanted to ask Matt live on the air?
Sure. Just in your opinion, as a criminal defense attorney, do you think that the punishment code is too harsh?
Yes, I do think parts of it are too harsh. And I think a lot of that is maybe because it was too lenient at some point. And I think I think legislatures in general have a tendency to overcorrect. And I think they went from, domestic violence, for instance, used to be, oh, this is a family matter, we're not going to get involved, to now it's almost a mandatory arrest on someone on scene. And we have minimum mandatories that I think are getting pretty archaic, especially in the area of trafficking and possession of drugs, because trafficking is really not necessarily what you think it is or what you see in the movies. And 1020 life, like I said, it takes a lot of discretion away from judges and even sometimes prosecutors, the people that are actually working the case and might see that it's not appropriate to comply with these minimum mandatories. So I know they've tried to, criminal justice reform has been taken up in the legislature, and hopefully we'll see some headway there. But sometimes you see some good people making one-time mistakes that are subject to these minimum mandatories, and in some cases they can be too harsh.
So, Clayman, you want to go into criminal defense. So what drew you towards criminal defense?
Honestly, I just wanted to help people any way that I could. And I didn't feel that doing prosecution is really up my alley. I don't want to put people in prison for so long that it's almost impossible for them to change their life afterwards. That being said, I'm still open to the idea of pursuing some amount of prosecution simply so that I can become a better defender in the long run.
So in criminal defense class or in criminal law class in law school, you'll quickly discover there's two theories of punishment. There is the theory of rehabilitation.
Right.
And then there's also the theory of basically just punishment.
Yeah.
Basically. So it's sort of those things duel oftentimes, and sometimes they compete. So,
and the Florida criminal punishment code strictly says in there that the primary purpose is punishment.
Right. Not rehabilitation.
Not rehabilitation.
Right. We are not here to make you better. We're here to make sure you feel the pain of the crime you inflicted on society. So, but I will tell you this, Clayman, it is a track record that bodes well for you for parents that have reached out to a Saturday morning call-in show at 8 a.m. on behalf of a child for their summer internship, because that's how I got my start. My mother actually reached out to my predecessor and said, hey, do you hire summer interns? And here we are 15 years later, almost 16 years later. So if that's an indicator of your future, you're going to do quite well, Clayman. So we appreciate you being here today. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. Open studio line gets you right on the air, so you can ask your question of either myself, Attorney Patrick Smith, or my special guest, Attorney Matthew Kendall, and we are here to help any way we can. 877-943-9673, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, we're going to our hometown. We're going to go to Winter Haven, and we're going to talk to Jim. Jim, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, and thank you.
Sure. Jim, I was waiting to hear your voice because I was seeing if it was another buddy of Matt and mine's from high school just calling in, because Matt and I did go to high school together there at Lake Region High School and Eagle Lake, but we both grew up in Winter Haven, and I think after high school, the next time we saw each other was when we walked into the LSAT exam.
Yeah, I was at Florida Southern College, and I think we had just graduated, and yeah, we saw each other just walking through the campus there.
Yep. So anyway, Jim, how can we help you today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit older than y'all, but anyway, 4 years ago, I was divorced after 31 years of marriage. Unreconcilable differences, something like that. And a month later, I got another piece of paperwork from a deputy to go into court for a protection hearing. So she put a protection hearing down, and I think it was female Judge Cumbie, very nice judge, very impartial. She got the protection, and what I'm asking is, I didn't see, and I've read all 13 or 14 pages of my paperwork, whatever you want to call it, and it doesn't have a time frame. They took away my concealed carry permit, my ability to have any weapons. I'm ex-military. I work for DOC, and I kind of feel like a felon, and it's been 4 years this month, my birth month. I'm 64. And I'm just wondering, is there a time frame, or do I realize because of COVID, almost everything is virtual. Do I have to hire a lawyer, or can I petition the court myself? How do I do that?
Yeah, Jim, I'm going to let Matt tackle this. This is more in his bailiwick. So Matt, go ahead, buddy.
So many times these are family law related, but when they're based upon a criminal defense for a domestic violence injunction. So I do defend these on a regular basis. And what you can do is, at any time, you can ask the court to modify or vacate or dissolve a final protection order. You can do it yourself. We highly recommend not doing that. You should at least consult an attorney, and at least, to see if it's going to, how much it's going to cost you and do it. It shouldn't be a full-blown, It should not be a full-blown evidentiary hearing for it. And if you've had no issues, you should at least have some grounds to vacate it if at least to argue for it. I will say this, the injunctions can be put in place for a certain period of time. However, if no period of time is entered on the injunction, then it is considered indefinite, meaning that it's permanent until the judge vacates it, but the judge can vacate it at any time. So it sounds like you have an indefinite injunction.
Well, what the deal was, real fast, is it was a domestic violence, but it was verbal threat on my part. And of course, everybody gets heated, and we're only human beings. We're not robots. And yes, I did make some threats. Did I go through with them? No. Have I ever bothered her in 4 years, or had anybody bother her? No. Or my daughter, who's 22 this coming year? No. So I realize that, with you saying the indefinite, because there's no time on my paperwork. I guess I could, can I call you, and can we talk and see what it will cost? Because, I feel like a common criminal. Yes, I can still vote, but my God, and what really killed me was when the judge asked me right at the last, well, Mr. Warren, I don't care if anybody knows my name. 'Cause I've been
Yeah,
throughout my life.
me and
I
Mr.
don't
Smith
care.
just kind
I
of gave
mean,
each other a little bit of an eye roll there, like,
Yeah,
oh,
that-
don't say your name.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm very transparent. And anyway, she said, Mr. Warren, myself and the court's interested in just what type of weapons and how many do you possess? And I stand there. I mean, I was an MP for quite a few years.
Yeah, and I can kind of just jump in there and just kind of say, yeah, within a domestic violence injunction, you are prohibited under federal law, and Florida has to comply with that. You are not allowed to possess, purchase, carry a firearm while you have a domestic violence injunction in place.
Right, and I don't. Everything has been, taken care of. But when she asked me what I had and how many, I just told her, and it probably sealed my fate. I said, with all due respect, Your Honor, it's none of you or the court's business. With all due respect, that's my right. But I don't.
But it kind of was their business, to kind of let you know that it kind of legally it was their business, because a lot of times you have to file or sign a firearms affidavit once that's granted, and so it is kind of is their business.
Yeah, Jim,
Yeah,
how
I
did
didn't
the
have to
judge
do that.
respond to you telling them that was not their business? I've got to know.
I can't really say it on the air, but it was
yeah.
like sticking a big lemon wedge somewhere.
Well,
to say what I got.
that's what I thought. I thought, yeah, that's not going to go over great. So,
Jim, did you get the number for my office that I put out on the air there?
Yes, sir, I did. But can you give it to me again, please? I'll make sure I got it.
Absolutely. It's area code 727-446-4800.
All right, thank you. And it's my birthday today.
Happy
64.
birthday,
Happy birthday.
Jim! Congratulations.
Thank you.
You said
But one last real quick thing about that deal. She when she had the bailiff secure my wallet and take my CCW card and whatever out, CWP card, I kind of questioned her. But when I told her that it was none of her business, she did call me into her chambers. She made me wait there after everybody was done. All the pews are empty, and she said, "Look, it would behoove you." And she said, "You know what that means?" I said, "Yes, Your Honor. It's in my best interest. I'm not ignorant." And she said, "Well, it would behoove you for at least 6 months to have somebody you can call or text so you can ping off." And a lot of people need to hear this. So you can ping off, because I moved to Winter Haven, 17 miles away from North Lakeland, and you ping off a tower. So if she calls and says you just rode by and did something, yes, they will still come arrest you, but you can say, "Hey, check the phone records. There's no way, in whatever I was there." So that was a good piece of advice that she did give me. So, and I did that for about 6 months just in case, because you never know.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, Jim. We hope
All
you
right,
enjoy
thank you
the
so
rest of your
much.
birthday and stay away from those injunctions, okay?
Oh yeah, I'm all about that, and I'll be giving you a call, sir. And thank you so much.
All righty. You have a great day, Jim. Happy birthday. All righty. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. And I mean this with absolutely zero disrespect. What a perfect Polk County call.
Yeah, most jurisdictions, or at least the ones that I'm regularly in front of, they'll enter them for about a year and then kind of see where it goes from there. So to have an indefinite injunction, some judges just do that, and but sometimes it's because they really feel that way. But
Yeah.
so we'll have to go back and look at it, and hopefully the stuff. He may very have a different judge at this point after 4 years. They rotate them. Sometimes every 2 years.
Well, and that's been my experience. Is
might help 'em.
our judges in the state of Florida are amazing for the most part, and it's a matter of if you're level-headed and reasonable. Most judges are going to be level-headed, reasonable, and respectful right back. And the things that make like court cam episodes, or where someone is purposely being disrespectful to someone, and if you're disrespectful to the bench, you sort of you're going to get what you deserve. So.
And if it's Judge Catherine Comby, I know she used to be a defense attorney. If that's who it is over there, I know Comby's a very big name in Lakeland and Polk County.
Yeah, well, there's a Cumbie Road.
Yeah,
so maybe one and the same. So 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. You can call in now and be part of our show. Attorney Matthew Kendall joining us in studio with me, Attorney Patrick Smith, and we are here to answer your legal questions. 877-943-9673, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. Buddy, let me ask you this question. What do you think one of the biggest myths about criminal defense practices? What's one of the things that people think is true, but it's not?
I think people think that if they just go in there and tell the truth, that it's going to go their way, or that if they didn't do anything wrong, that things are going to go in their favor. How many days, weeks, years do we hear people getting released from prison after spending 20, 30 years there? So I think that some people think they can do it themselves, that they don't need an attorney. I think that's usually a mistake. Because sometimes you need to know the rules to get your evidence in, the things that might actually help you out. And so you don't see it too much anymore, but I think people thinking that they can do it alone, or that's probably one of the, and things are just going to work out for them, I think is a big myth.
I think that's exactly right. I think you see people, and especially, and I see it more in the civil world, where people say, when you're going into a deposition and they say, the civil litigation attorney's telling them, look, you don't have to fill the silence. You don't have to, give the answer they want to hear. You just have to tell your answer. And it can be yes, no, I don't know, maybe. And then where people, and I think it's probably more so on the criminal defense side, where people get themselves in trouble is when they just sort of start meandering with the story.
Yeah.
And
well, you got to remember the jury and sometimes the judge is the finder of fact. And so they're going to decide what the truth is for the most part. So they're not there. They didn't see what happened. So a lot of times they're going to assess the individual's credibility. And you're right. If you start meandering, if you wander off, if you're maybe a little too passionate, that might affect the way a jury or judge assesses your credibility and whether or not to believe you.
All right. So give us a call if you have a question. 877-943. I'm your local Central Florida attorney, Patrick Smith. 877-943-9673. Joining me in studio, special guest attorney Matthew Kendall and intern candidate Clayman Kidd. 877-943-9673. Next, we're going to Tampa and we're going to talk to Jim. Jim, welcome to
and
the
you should
attorney
make all your interns go through this process.
Should I?
Should
this be
I think you've set a precedent.
The regular hiring ritual? I like that idea. That's a great idea. Jim, how can we help you today?
Hey, I was just calling about the last caller, Jim, who called up and, who wants to get his rights back and all that. And I can appreciate the fact that he's probably a decent guy. He probably is. But when you threaten somebody with physical harm, that's terrorism. And when you terrorize somebody like that, there should be some kind of penalty for it. Like the kid in Buffalo. He was terrorizing people for years by posting really racist, nasty stuff. And nobody did anything. Now, a person that does that publicly terrorizes people, should lose their right to own a firearm because they've shown a propensity towards doing something bad in their thoughts. Thoughts turn into actions, as we saw in Buffalo.
Well, Jim, I think the public policy or public safety policy is the fact that when someone issues threats, we don't want to wait until it's too late to do something. So I think it's about being preventative. And I think that's the general tenor of your comment is if you sort of make these threats, then we're going to take away the means that we know you possess to make good on these threats in an effort to protect others.
And the threats in made in a domestic violence injunction type case may not necessarily constitute a crime. So sometimes it would fall short of what would actually be a crime, that might warrant an injunction. And there's going to be other facts and circumstances that might play into that as well. So just on a one-time thing, I'm not sure if, he should lose his rights forever. I mean, he's obviously lost them for 4 years, it sounds like so far. And it sounds like he's removed from the situation that led to him losing his temper. And he might've just said some things he didn't mean. So, from where I sit, I try to give the people the benefit of the doubt. And, but no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but it's like when a parent says, if you don't stop that, I'm going to kill you. I understand that. They shouldn't lose their rights. But an adult at his age, he said he was like 64. So he was 60 when this happened. To throw out some kind of physical threat. And it wasn't just against his ex-wife. He said it was against his daughter, too. That just right there says this person has a propensity in my mind that he could follow through with these because he's already 60 years old. And you know what? At 60, you should know better than to make threats like that, regardless of the emotional involvement.
Yeah, and I think that Matt's point to that, Jim, is the fact that our prior caller, is he the threat now that he was then? And I think that's the critical factor in determining whether or not that injunction should be lifted. I think that's what Matt's point was.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly try to stay away from, the whole pre-crime, if you remember that Minority Report. We don't want to arrest people.
Oh, the precogs?
Yeah, the precogs, So it
movie.
is a fine
Great
line
movie.
between trying to prevent crime and not trampling on
There
people's
is.
rights.
But hey, you guys being out there doing what you're doing helps people to know what's going on and what their rights are. Because like you were saying about people going in court by themselves, they just don't understand how tricky the system is, that they can use what you say, even though it's the truth, in a way that makes it look bad on you. And you guys are there to make sure that doesn't happen to them, to protect their interests in a way that they don't know how to. And when Jim earlier said, I'm not ignorant, Jim, get a clue. You are ignorant. I'm ignorant. Everybody you're talking to is ignorant. We're all ignorant of something.
Well, Jim, I just want to say to you that mentioning of, they take the truth and then they make something out of it and angle it. That's called lawyering. And that's where you take the facts as they're dealt and you try to present them to the jury in the best light and for your client's best interest. For the defense, that's obviously the defendant, and for the prosecutor, it's obviously the state of Florida. So that's where they go to battle, and they try to avoid that, and they try to usually come to some sort of plea deal, because we were talking before we went on the air. Once you get to a jury, you never know what a jury is going to do. So,
but that's the problem with plea deals, though, is that the only one with power in the plea deal is the prosecutor, because they overcharge to begin with in most cases and then try to plea you down to what it actually was in the beginning. And that's not right. That needs to stop, too.
All right. Well, Jim, we appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You guys.
All righty, you're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. With me in studio, special guest, Attorney Matthew Kendall. And next, we have a very special caller. We're going to my friend, Brendan Leslie. Brendan, happy Saturday. Welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hey, how are we doing, Patrick?
I'm doing great, Brendan. I asked Brendan to call in because he and I are actually going to be doing an event together next week in Clearwater. Brendan, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit more about this event we've got coming up next Saturday, the 28th.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a talk show. It's going to be with a congressional candidate in Clearwater, which is Anna Paulina Luna. We're going to also have another big guest named DC Drano, who's a big conservative influencer in the political world. We also have the president of the Young Republicans Club of Tampa, I believe it's Tampa Bay, Brittany Jean. She's going to be there, so it's nice to see our youth getting involved with politics. And then there'll be you, myself, and it's going to just be a good old time. It's happening at Mug Sports Bar and Grill in Clearwater, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And what time again next Saturday is that, buddy?
The show is going to be starting at 8 p.m.
Starting at 8 p.m. at Muggs in Clearwater. Hopefully you guys can come out. Yours truly will be there along with my pal, Brendan Leslie, and we will be there as part of the Patriot Talk Show, and we will look forward to meeting all of you in person and shaking your hand. And Brendan, I appreciate you calling in today.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Have a great day. All right. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, 877-943-9673. And buddy, Matt, before we go to the next caller, I want you to give out your contact information one more time for anyone out there who missed it the first couple times.
Yeah, if anybody wants to contact me regarding a criminal case or even a civil traffic ticket, the number would be 727-446-4800. You can always also send in a request through the website, which is pretty easy, floridadefense.com.
All righty. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Joining me today, my special guest, Attorney Matthew Kendall, criminal defense attorney. And next, we're going to Tampa to talk to Chris. Chris, I have about 2 minutes here left in the show, so can you make it concise?
Oh, I don't know. How you doing, counselors?
I'm doing great,
Doing
Chris.
good.
I have a real world question and then a theoretical question, and as I've been pondering about, should I just go with my theoretical one because I think that's easier, and then just call you back next week with my real world question?
Oh, is this Chris, our regular caller, Chris?
Yes, I hope so.
Okay.
Let me check. Yes, it's me.
All right, I think this call may officially make you part of the 5 Timers Club, Chris. So we have to get you your
Sure, the
jacket.
answer is going to be it depends.
Yeah, that's right. So, Chris, go ahead.
Should I pursue my theoretical question? I think that's an easier one.
Okay.
Okay. So if there's I was just thinking about this. If there's a couple and they're married and they both possess guns, and then let's say one of the couple turns up on the bad side of the law and ends up becoming a convicted felon, how does that work? Do they confiscate guns from both parties in the household.
Matt, we got
one
about
of them's only a convicted felon.
Well, I'll keep it short. So possession is basically knowledge and then custody or control. So as long as the convicted felon does not have custody and control of the firearms, they're just not going to come in your house and take them. So they don't just come in your house and take firearms unless they have a warrant that you committed a crime or those are evidence of a crime. So if the one spouse is entitled to have them, they're not going to come in there. But, if the convicted felon would want to make sure they're insulated, meaning the guns are locked up, they're kept safe, they don't have access to them. And certainly, posting pictures online, holding them or shooting them, you don't want to do that. But it should be okay there.
So, Chris, that's all the time we have for today. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty. You're listening to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Write this number down for next week to call in with your legal questions, 877-943-9673. And to reach me at the office during the week, 877-754-6764. Very special thank you to Clayman Kidd, our intern candidate, for being on today's show, and my longtime pal, Attorney Matthew Kendall, criminal defense attorney. Matt, great having you on the show today. We'd love to have you back sometime, too. So, again, I'm Attorney Patrick Smith, and to reach me during the week, 877-754-6764, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. God bless. Stay safe. Go Gators.
The proceeding was sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. W282CI Tampa, W271CY Lakeland, W262CP Bay.